It's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hello, bon dia, Graham Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal live stream show and podcast. Now, normally it says that behind me, doesn't it? Should we see if I can do something about that? How are you this morning? A bit quite a chaotic morning. I awoke to find that Mrs. M had a technical difficulty early this morning. She was live to Wrecking Barley this morning, an ungodly hour while I was still slumbering. I awoke to find that she had an incredible echo problem. So it's worth listening to her shows anyway, but there was an extra item of entertainment this morning when it went into a virtual loop, like eating a strange mushroom in the 1960s or something like that. And who knows, she might have echo flashbacks later on today. So quite the busy morning here. And the news just in from Michael Heron. I think he's got a little bit of trouble with one of the kids at home, not feeling too well, so he may be a little bit late. It might be that he can't join us at all, sadly, but we'll see. We'll keep the door open, and fortunately, we have an extra guest for you this morning, and this is wonderful. Thank you to Kathy for organising this. This is Nuno Motta, who runs a tennis academy here on the Silver Coast, and he'll be here to join us at around 9:20 as well. For those of you who are thoroughly, did you hear that Portugal were through last night? 6-1 victory over Switzerland and into the quarterfinals. What a fantastic game of football that was last night. A really good morale booster for the Portuguese team and nation, and through to a game with Morocco, I believe, at the weekend. And the reason Michael comes along is to make sure I've got those facts absolutely right. So he may be delayed and possibly maybe a no-show. Obviously got to put family first at the other end there. So all the best. Lots of love to you and family, Michael, and hope things settle down, calm down at Casa Heron this morning. Okay, and Nuno Motta joining us at around 9:20 this morning. In the meantime, I thought we might have a look at the newspapers. We haven't done that for a while. And we've also got lovely advent calendar contributions that have been coming in. Thank you, Anna, for yours. Thank you, Bill and Marcus, for yours too. And today's is the Runettes. You're thinking, the Runettes? Have I heard of the Runettes? Phil Spector? Oh, no, that's the Ronettes. Let's have a look at the Runettes this morning with our Day 7 Advent calendar entry. I hope I'm not on a virtual loop. I'm just checking. Hold on. That is the creepiest thumbnail I've seen morning all. Which thumbnail are you talking about, Mrs. M there, I wonder? Okay. And over on LinkedIn, this is great. This is the first ever message we've had broadcasting on LinkedIn. Our old pal Luis Duarte is there over on LinkedIn. What's it like? Could you let us know, Luis, if it looks and sounds good over there on LinkedIn? That normally very corporate environment, which I think could be quite stuffy and a little soulless. Hopefully, we're bringing a little bit of mirth and merriment, Good Morning Portugal style, to LinkedIn this morning. Mustafa Sifa, good morning from Morocco, the aforementioned Morocco. How are you doing, Mustafa? Mustafa, was it you that got in touch with me about tours? Because you've really inspired my imagination to share more about tours in Portugal. And of course, if that was you, do remind me if that was you that mentioned tours in Morocco. Great to have you here this morning, and I'd be delighted to tell people about your tours in Morocco. If they're looking for a little bit of a change, if they want to travel and venture beyond Europe and Portugal sometime in the future. Thank you for getting in touch, if that was indeed you. Greetings in this morning. Mrs. M, she says she's not joining us. I would like it if she did. Maybe she will change her mind and come and join us, and because we need to find out what the creepiest that she's seen and a morning or the show, the one with the mask over Michael. Oh, that one. Okay. Yeah, he thought it was a bit clickbaity. The effect I was going for was the joys and the upsets of football. Because when I posted that show yesterday, we didn't know if Portugal were going to win or not. That's how football works, of course. You never really know until it's over. But I think we got a fairly good feeling halfway into the match that it was going to be Portugal's. But you just do never know. And then when Switzerland scored one, I was thinking, oh my goodness, there could be a. Portugal are known, I think, for relaxing their guard and then panicking later on and losing their defense later on in the game. I think that's Frank's analysis of Portugal generally, but that didn't happen yesterday, unfortunately. Massive victory over Switzerland. Yeah, and I was just trying to go for the drama, the comedy and tragedy of or the upbeat and downbeat of football. So I'm sorry that didn't work for you, Mrs. M. Won't do that again. Note to self. And the octopus actually predicted the result as well. So when we look at the Portugal News via the Portugal News publication and the Portugal Resident, we will see that the octopus who predicted the last World Cups, or some of them, I think he's got a pretty good track record. He did predict a Portuguese victory. We only want to hear about the victories. Don't we? Also, how much hashish washed up on the beach? 280 kilos of hashish found on the beach. Was it high tide, I wonder? Thank you very much. Here all week, literally here all week. Monday to Friday, 8:30-ish to 10-ish every morning. If you'd like to support the show, please do that at ko-fi.com/GMP. Let me put that on the screen for you now. So yeah, thank you very much for being here this morning. Let's do some name checks after I've put the old ticker tape, the fundraising ticker tape that keeps the show on the road. There you go. And you can become a member at various levels and support various aspects of the show. We have upgraded our StreamYard, and people have very kindly stepped forward to cover costs of making graphics and videos and streaming and so on. If you want to do that, please go to the website that is on show on the ticker tape on the screen right now. Great to hear from you, Luis. And it sounds good. Fantastic. Peter as well. Hey, Peter, how are you? Lovely to see you here this morning with a bon dia as well, Peter van Nuno. Do the comments show up at your end as well? This is great news. So the StreamYard upgrade, allowing us to go to LinkedIn, I think giving us a nice new and fresh connection with people we haven't seen for a while. So that's really good news. That's really working. Who's in this morning? T-Duck, Coach Turner. Let's do your contributions, because this, of course, is the Portugal-loving community contributed show, whether that be time, treasure, or talent in your contributions. Do please recognize that this is your show, and it's your contributions that make it so fabulous. Oh, I was going to show you the Advent calendar, wasn't I? But I do need to name check everybody. Let me just set the Advent calendar up so that we can hear from the Runettes in just a moment. Really brilliant bit of work from John Rooney on the Silver Coast. However, let me just say hello. I will get round to it. Coach Turner, T-Duck, James is in as well. Good morning. Deagle with the origin of the phrase brass monkeys. Cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. We'll find out the origin, because that, like so many amazing things, originates in Belfast. Capricorn 12, Chris is here. Hola, bon dia. Suze is in as well. Marcus, Carlos F, Mustafa Sifa. Jean's in too. Luis, of course, Peter, and Matty's in as well. Suze has an ophthalmology report. Maybe you thought you'd stump me with the pronunciation of ophthalmology. Ophthalmology, is it? Yeah, ophthalmology report. My dad went blind from glaucoma and macular degeneration, says Suze, sadly this morning. My tests fell behind schedule with leaving Finland. No sign of them, but early cataracts. No need for any surgery yet. Oh, well done, Suze. Keep eating your carrots. They will help you hear in the dark. Okay. Is hashish still a thing? Well, that's how they report it. It's true, isn't it? There are various names, aren't there? Like the devil's lettuce, the jazz fag, which probably works better in England than it does in America, or the jazz woodbine. Yeah, devil's lettuce, well, the wacky backy, the chronic. Yes, hashish does sound... Well, in the newspapers, they use words like bungle, don't they? A bungled raid. That was a bungled drug smuggling attempt, I suppose. But yeah, that's how it was reported. We'll go and have a look at that in a little while. of that high tide happening here in Portugal. And talking of high tides, actually, yes, I will go back to the Advent calendar as well. Talking of high tides, a rain tide in Faro. Look at this amazing picture from the Algarve where they've been struck by flooding. Lots of love to you, Shelley, who sent a message and alerted me to the flooding in the Algarve. That's a very far cry from how we experienced the Algarve probably a month ago. But look at that. That's an incredible picture, isn't it? On first glance, it looks like some sort of spacecraft hovering through, or a little Blade Runner. It looks like a still from Blade Runner, doesn't it? With a low fog. That's water on the streets of, I think, Faro, certainly in the Algarve, and the lights of the car shining through. They're good, aren't they? They must, I mean, the upside of that is that those lights are pretty good in difficult conditions, but they're not ideal circumstances for that. I don't think there's a driver in there, fortunately. But what a shocking picture to see here in Portugal. And it continues to rain, so rain likely for our meetup this lunchtime in San Martinho de Porto. We're back at Palmeira with Nelson. Great to be back there last week. And he closed the awnings around his deck. He's got a lovely deck, has Nelson. And he shielded us from the wind and the rain, and I dare say he'll do the same again. Our spirits were high. There was a lot of laughter and mirth and merriment inside or just outside the restaurant on his first deck, not the outer far deck, the inner deck, the one just before you go into the restaurant. And he looked after us, did us proud last week. It was great to be back there. Okay. Yes, if you left me that bill, if you're in the San Martinho de Porto meetup group, you'll have seen that I picked up a tab at Bohemia, where we were temporarily. If you neglected to pay your bill, I got you back, and I paid that. But if you want to refund me the money on PayPal, please do so. You'll see that on the San Martinho de Porto meetup group. Okay, that Advent calendar. Let's have a look, shall we? Really enjoying this. We've gone through our first row. Oh, I'm trying to scroll down on a screen share. You can't do that, Carl. Here we go. That's the way to do it. We are. Well, not a single piece of chocolate or liqueur or anything like that on this Advent calendar. A different kind of surprise. And we have completed our first row, 1 to 4, with contributions from Mrs. M and Dougie in Birmingham, Peggy in the Algarve. And today, look at him there. Quite pleased with himself, and so he should be with his Santa hat on. This is John Rooney on the Silver Coast and his Christmas sing-song.
We wish you a Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, darling, wherever you are.
Merry Christmas, darling, wherever you are. John, you are a hoot. Thank you very much indeed for that and allowing us to do. Oh, there's Gavin Holligan who allowed us to play his tune on Indie Thursday, which is, of course, tomorrow. We do Indie Thursday on a Thursday, funnily enough, with Katia Lima, who's going to talk to us about lesser-known Portuguese booze tomorrow so that we can impress our newfound Portuguese friends and neighbours with not the usual suspects of the Matias Rosé and the Beirão, although that's a bit borderline. Not everybody knows Beirão, do they? Jarapiga, etc., etc. So, Katia, I think with a few possible indie picks as well of businesses that we might support at Christmas time. Katia here with that lesser-known Portuguese booze guide tomorrow. Pardon me. Merry Christmas, everyone. From Carlos F there. And Marty, that was hilarious last night. Marty was very concerned about you, Marty. Is it okay for me to show that picture of you? It was a busy night last night. I've got to say, I'm a little bit tired this morning. And sorry, Mrs. M, if I have been a bit grumpy this morning. It's because I stayed up very late and then being treated to quite a lot of American news this morning. I found a little bit of an assault on my senses. Yeah, it was because I was up late last night. We had the webinar at 9, which was quite amazing. It was the dream team of Gilda and Sarah from Spartan and Nuno. And Jerry and Astrid. Find them all. Click on the link on the website, on our website, as you can see there, to click you through to Expats Portugal, where you can connect with all of those wonderful folks. And we had a very busy and at times chaotic webinar, Migration Tuesday webinar live stream last night. And people started to comment upon my appearance. My face was very red and I had a green shirt on and I looked like the Portuguese flag, which wasn't missed by some people who delighted in commenting about it last last night. And then after that, a Portugal club discussion. It was wonderful to be up very late talking to John H last night. Congratulations to you, John and Pam, on your visa alert and successful application. And up talking to John about the fourth turning yesterday evening. I was leaving the website up there so I could show you my panto dame picture. There was some talk yesterday, wasn't there, about being a panto dame. So I decided to create a hire Carl page on the website whereby you can hire me as a panto dame if you really want to. Be a nice surprise for somebody, wouldn't it, for Christmas? Anyway, back to Marty, who was mentioned on the webinar last night because he's been sending pictures of his of himself and a visa application, I believe, to Gilda, who was quite concerned because you suggested, Marty, that you might take your picture with a grizzly bear. The one that we saw last night was you, yes, with the grizzly bear. Is it all right to show that this morning, Marty? I wonder. You did really worry Gilda, so she would like pictures of people with their successful visa applications in hand, but preferably, you sat on your car in your front drive with it stationary, obviously, or in your kitchen or in your living room, not with dangerous animals. I didn't post that. What's this? Mrs. M pointing to something. I didn't post that. What's going on here then? Who doesn't like a cloaked deck first thing in the morning? Has somebody hacked you? How strange is that? Anyway, Panto Dame, you say, at your service. Oh, before we dispense with the Advent calendar, yeah, we've got Windows 7 and 8 already sorted out, thanks to Anna and Bill and Marcus. Please send in your videos, your Christmas videos from all around the world. Wishing everybody a happy Christmas. We lit up Christmas last year, and we're going to do the same again this year. We're going to be sharing the Christmas spirit around the world, emanating from Portugal this year, despite the gaslighting cutbacks in electric supply. We don't need to do that here in Portugal. Couldn't we use some of that renewable stuff and leave the lights on all night to remind everybody of the light of the world, however you perceive that? Come on, it's the least we can do, is it not? Okay, let's go back to the ticker tape telling you what's going on today. Ask anything about Portugal Wednesday. Forgot to mention that if you do have any questions about Portugal, of course, that's our usual theme on a Wednesday. Ask anything about Portugal. Michael may or may not join us this morning. All the best with Paulie kids back at base there, Michael. But we will have Nuno Mota of the Nuno Mota Tennis Academy here in Óbidos on the Silver Coast. So, yeah, pantomime dames then, before we have a look at the news as well this morning. Let's have a look. The Hire Carl button. And in all seriousness, yes, of course, you can hire me as a Portugal consultant, friend and shoulder to cry on, webinar host, podcast producer, panel host, voiceover artist, event host. I don't know how I fit it all in. And who doesn't like to fit it all in first thing in the morning? But there you see on the right of your screen, Panto Dame. Oh, and celebrant. Wouldn't you want that face at your serious event? And look at that. A great moment on the BBC and at the Rugby World Cup stage in Exeter as an MC. And a serious moment as a journalist and writer, asking an elf. They're very seasonal. What's he really like to work with? So there you go. I was a Panto Dame. That's me. I know it's hard to see with my lovely blonde hair. But yes, available as a Panto Dame. Maybe a bit too late for this year, what with learning all the lines and everything. But why don't we have a Good Morning Portugal, a Gumpers pantomime? Beautiful girls here. Girls 18, XYZ, you're about to be banned. But you know what fascinates me about this is not the beautiful girls, really, before anyone else says it, but who is doing this? Who is the person behind this? Like, why instead of spamming, why not be honest and open and authentic? And I don't know. This person is trying to make a living of some sort. I would, from a journalistic point of view that I just mentioned, I would be very interested to interview the likes of the sort of person who is spamming us this morning. What goes on for you? How is it to be doing this? And what is your day like going around the websites and live streams of the world, putting up this, I was going to say garbage, which I suppose it is. a pornography industry, not one I'm particularly keen on. Looks like a lot of misery there, which girls 18 XYZ seem to be promoting and promulgating at the moment. So we'll probably have to get rid of you in just a moment. Beautiful girls here. But you could also show yourself and appear on the Good Morning Portugal show so we can understand you better. Seek first to understand and then be understood, and understand what goes on for somebody trying to make a living in this way. But you've made your point. You don't need to put it up 3 times. Anybody who wants that service can now find it. So don't make a nuisance of yourself. Coach Turner, no connection being made at all whatsoever there, Coach Turner. Bom dia, Campos. Como estás? Looking forward to Michael's take on Portugal's performance yesterday. If he doesn't give his take, you know what mine is. Fantastic. I have Portugal in the sweepstake by some magnificent quirk of good fortune. So fantastic to see a win, and such a conclusive one at that. What was your take on it, Coach Turner? Your God Score tip of the day. Of course, mental health is as important as physical health throughout life. It's why I believe it's so important to enjoy yourself, balanced by a little exercise. Absolutely right. But in comes the big but. I saw this unattributed quote this morning and thought it appropriate. Do something good for someone for no reason. Try it. It's likely to improve life for 2 people. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? That improves the doer and the doee. Very good. Thank you for that. Yeah, random acts of kindness, I think, is what's being spoken about there. How about that? If every Gumper here this morning perpetuated a random, that's probably not the right word, is it? Or committed, or graciously and beautifully gave of themselves in a random act of kindness, that would be quite the effect we would be having, even in our little niche community here of Portugal loving community contribution. Why not? Thank you very much for that, Coach Turner. Excellent job. And T Dirk with a Bom dia Alegria this morning at 8 o'clock, another wet Wednesday, and a deep thought. Whack, whack, whack. If you carry old bricks from your past relationship to your new one, you'll end up building the same house that fell apart before. Anonymous, probably because he didn't want his first wife to be reading that, whoever Anonymous was, or maybe it is Anonymous. Anonymous, and the very ominous Portuguese saying, Deus, that just occurred to me, ominous, a bit like Lindsay Doyle. That was a fantastic dad joke I saw on Twitter yesterday. I knew a girl once called Lindsay Doyle. She smelled like a cricket bat. Deus escreve certo por linhas tortas. God writes straight over crooked lines. Whoa. What? The great movements, and who doesn't like a great movement in the morning? I know I do. The great movements in our lives very rarely follow a straight course. Well said, Portuguese people, and your wonderful sayings, including that one. Deus escreve certo por linhas tortas. Very good. That's fantastic. Hugo Nuno. Let's go to Hugo Nuno now. I think we need a picture, don't we? We need a meme and a jingle for Hugo. Over to Hugo Nuno now with a random fact of the day. Capital punishment hasn't been carried out in Portugal since 1846. I wonder who that poor soul was. And was finally outlawed in 1867. That's quite a hiatus, isn't it, before finally abolishing it. Portugal was the first country to abolish life imprisonment as well. Amazing, along with its progressive drug policy, that seems quite ahead of the game, doesn't it? Capital punishment being outlawed in 1867, and the first country ever to abolish life imprisonment. We may have emotional feelings as to why that should still be the case for certain people, but well done, Portugal. Dad jokes, coming back to those. Hopefully you'll get a chance to do those with Michael Heron. And bom dia, Gampers! Feliz Catadores, como estão? Muito bem, obrigado. And you have a cue this for us this morning, James. If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. That's true, isn't it? But thankfully, we can just step into. Imagine that if you had to make the universe every time you woke up of a morning. Like you just stepped into empty space and you had to create the whole universe just because you were a bit hungry for apple pie. It's there for you. Isn't that a reason to be grateful this morning? That the universe, you were able to wake up and step straight into it. Now, I don't know if you're like me, sometimes when you wake up in the morning, there's that moment where you don't know who you are or where you are, and you're thankful that you're not in a ditch somewhere with no trousers on, for example. Not that that's ever happened to me. No, that's never happened to me. But isn't it incredible? That moment, you don't know who you are. And it's as though you put on the clothes of consciousness, right? First thing in the morning. There I am. There's that body I recognize. Looks a little bit older than it used to, I'm thinking sometimes. but it still works perfectly well. Thank you. And then, the room and the house and the street and the town and the region, and then the country, and then the land mass and the seas and everything, the universe, the cosmos, as Carl Sagan probably says it. A glorious dawn, a line from the Symphony of Science there. If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. That is a lovely way of looking at it. And there's something about Carl's, clearly. Nice one, Carl Sagan. And thank you very much, James, for that. Slugs annual Santa Cruz lighted bow parade. Yogi Berra quote of the day: but Little League can be a great experience for kids as long as they want to play and don't play to bring their parents glory. Yes, because that's not a bad thing for James in the psychotherapy business. But I think any kids who play for their parents' glory may have some psychotherapy bills later on in life. E parabéns a Portugal, a right proper thrashing. That sounds so British, doesn't it? A right proper thrashing of Switzerland on the quarterfinals. Portugal! Fantastic. Chris is here. Hola, bon dia to you, Chris. How are you doing? And Deagle with the origins of brass monkey weather. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a dry, cold Belfast. Brass monkeys here. Brrr. In Belfast, a brass monkey was a triangle with 3 balls resting. But why? Why, Deagle? Why was there a triangle with 3 balls resting? Now, I know I sound like a small child asking awkward questions, but why would you have a triangle with 3 balls resting on it? When it got cold, the balls shrunk in size. Yes, we've all been there. Well, those of us... Anyway, when it got cold, the balls shrunk in size and fell to the ground. Fortunately, haven't been there. Hence the Belfast saying, I didn't know it was a Belfast. I thought it was a Cockney saying, it's brass monkeys, taters this morning, brass monkey weather, mate. And no, at Belfast, it's a brass monkey weather. Hence, was that okay as a Belfast accent there, Deagle? Hence the Belfast saying, freeze the brass monkeys off you. So there you go. Now you know. And Coach Turner, that your advice has been taken well by Suze. I make an effort every day to make someone feel better, no matter how trite. Nice boots, like your... I didn't even read that as nice boobs. Be careful with that compliment, people. Nice boots, like your jeans. Thank you, Suze. I just bought my first pair of jeans for a decade. In fact, I bought 2 pairs because Springfield have got a great sale on at the moment, which is a nice trade up from Mo for me, I have to say. Like your jeans, your smile made me feel better. That's lovely, Suze. Only truthful compliments, though. Bon dia alegria from Marcus. How you doing, Marcus? And thank you for your lovely video, which we will be showcasing on the Advent calendar in the next couple of days. Bon dia, Carlos and Mustafa. You sabotaged Mrs. M. I was watching and I heard you laughing. You so did not hear me laughing. I was fast asleep. I had a very good excuse. I don't have the documentary evidence. If I had one of those watches that recorded my sleep that some of you have, I could probably present that in a court of law. But no, I was asleep at the time and was not laughing. How very dare you? La bon dia from New Jersey. From Jean. How you doing, Jean? Smash that like button. Slash that mic button. Mrs. M not happy at all about the thumbnail for the show this morning. Great to see Peter and Luis listening, watching on LinkedIn this morning. And bon dia alegria from Matty in Pombal. It was at my PLA course yesterday. I was at my PLA course. Is that your Portuguese language course? Well done. Nicely slipped into the conversation. No idea how it went. Yeah, right. You couldn't, it would be difficult to find anywhere in Portugal where you weren't aware of the result yesterday. I was in a laundrette with a couple of Spanish fellas and a couple of Brazilian ladies. Sounds like a joke, doesn't it? 2 Spaniards, 2 Brazilians and an Englishman walk into a laundrette. But we saw the match there, 1 goal after another. It was fantastic. And thank you to that Brazilian lady who cleared a space for me to fold my smalls. Very kind. And your pasty smelt very good. There's a nice compliment, but she'll never get to hear that. There's Yogi again. It ain't over till it's over. Yep, with the football results. They think it's over. They think it's all over. It is now. Is hashish still a thing? Okay, so let's have a look at this. A few of these stories. Then you're prompting me to read this, Suze. The octopus who guessed the result right. Let's go to the Portugal resident first, see what they've got on their front page. We'll just check the front pages first of all and find out if hashish is still a thing. Not that I condone or support or even condemn. I'm just telling you what's on the Portugal resident front page. And I do like the cut of this story's jib. I need to cough and have a sip. Just could you talk among yourselves for a minute? Actually, no, the thing for me to do is just play the Christmas jingle one more time, which will give me enough time to cough and have a sip of tea. Here you go. Well, nearly enough time to have a sip of tea anyway. Okay, where were we? We were with the Portugal resident. Isn't that a lovely news article there? Ria Formosa seahorse population shows signs of recovery, which is interesting, isn't it? Because that's isn't it the seahorse males? Are they called stallions if they're seahorses? They're the ones who have the young, aren't they? So the Ria Formosa seahorse population shows signs of recovery. That's lovely. Not the best of pictures. It sounds like or looks like the Ria Formosa is a little bit murky. But maybe they didn't want to disturb that seahorse giving birth, their sea stallion. Operation Perfect Storm, 3 Defense Ministry top dogs among those arrested, with some ominous looking gates there. 5 arrested in PJ operation. That's not a pajama party that went wrong. That's the one of the levels of the police force here, against corruption in exercise of public office. Tender for pioneering naval platform. False flag, nothing to do with belly buttons, actually the Navy there. So if you make naval vessels, by the sound of it, you missed out on supplying that particular gig there. Youth employment never really went away. It's increasing again in Portugal. And look, 1 ton of hashish seized after high speed. There you go. High tide, high speed. Go on. Any other jokes you want to make about the hashish seizure off the Algarve coast? Oh, so there was a chase and they must have chucked it all overboard. The boss is not going to like that. Heavy rain floods several parts of the Algarve. There's that car that we saw earlier on. That is some high water there in the Algarve there. Wall ride and urban artists give Faro's skate park a fresh coat of paint. And the one I really liked here was the Algarve flavors delivered to your doorstep ahead of Indie Portugal Thursday. Excuse me. We might hear in a moment about a nice new business bringing you the flavors of the Algarve. Arsenic in the Alentejo. That sounds terrible. Doctors in Portugal paid less than they were 10 years ago. Oh, it's cheered me right up looking at the Portugal resident this morning. Octopus predicts Portugal will win today's World Cup match against Switzerland. So obviously that was reported yesterday, but the Octopus got it right. Well done. I'm hesitating to ask him, I'm not sure, my friend the Octopus there, what the Morocco result is going to be. And yes, let's have a quick look then at the Algarve flavors delivered to your doorstep this morning as we await the possible arrival of Michael Heron. Certainly Nuno Mota will be joining us to talk about his tennis academy. Algarve flavors delivered to your doorstep. Classic local newspaper picture of the people behind that company sharing their wares with a nice smile on their face, and showing you what you might have delivered to your doorstep, featuring a variety of the region's best artisanal products. Artisanal, I like. Products, Algarve. Okay, let me do that again. Featuring a variety of the region's best artisanal products. Algarve Tasting Basket, the ATB, down with OPP, creates bespoke hampers delivered in Portugal and abroad. Entrepreneurial couple, Paula Santos and Emmanuel Gazio, I think it's a nice mixture there, isn't it? Possibly French or Belgian and Portuguese. They have created a brand through which they share the Algarve's best artisanal products. Since June, Algarve Tasting Basket has been delivering thematic and customizable hampers, both nationally and abroad. The idea is simple: to combine the flavors in small hampers from Madronio. Now we're talking, here we go. Made in the Serra do Caldeirão, beg your pardon, Caldeirão, with ham and sausage from Zambojal. Produced in the interior of Alcutin, to sardines from the Conserveira do Sol in Olhão, with organic purple perpetual tea. Organic purple perpetual tea, what's that? From Salbras to Alportel. The couple, who have lived in Albufeira for over 30 years, make the combinations. Their main objective is to share the Algarve's flavors. We need to get them on a show. I will send them this clip because I love recommending products, companies, services of this kind. Their main objective is to share the Algarve's flavors, variety and quality, especially from small-scale producers. And it makes a nice change from Guinness and fish and chips. It doesn't say that in the article. I added that in quite a predictable and unhelpful way. Owners of a graphic arts company during the pandemic, the couple was forced to invest in another sector, Very good. However, their desire to value the region's best products was an old idea. Family members, visiting friends, and even tourists are those who motivate them. And Emmanuel says this: it is often outsiders who notice the diversity, originality, and quality of what we have around us. Yes, we're lucky here in Portugal, and they are certainly in the Algarve. Thanks to this interest, we realised the value of small and medium-scale regional production and decided to go ahead with this project. It combines a mainly artisanal assortment with raw material 100% from the Algarve. Fantastic. We did talk about the fourth turning, me and John, last night. I think that's where we are. We're in the fourth turning. We're in crisis. And I think these little businesses, small and medium enterprises should be supported. There you go. That's a lovely. Oh, there's some honey in there. There's some good boy pate. That's a lovely bit of packaging, isn't it? Sardine pate. Good boy brand. Yes, you've been a good boy. Boa rapaz. Here, you can have some sardine pate. I don't know what is that a can? No, that's got cinnamon stick. It does look like there's a candle. And sabor do Algarve, licor de laranja. That's how they would say it if it were a Portuguese advert. You know that, don't you? Okay, so let's go to the Portuguese. The Portugal news now. Nuno Mota has joined us early. We might bring Nuno on in a little while, given that Michael is struggling to join us. More greetings coming in. I'll come back. More names for the chronic coming in. How do you know this? Suze, what are you saying, Suze? Yes, it is. Then, good morning, Gumpus. We have Carlos F and Carlos M this morning, and a Bondia from New Jersey. In Belfast, it's called Blow. The cannabis. I wonder if this is going to get us struck off YouTube. We're just doing this as a news piece, YouTube, by the way. Looks a bit like a drone, lol, but it's a car underwater. That's the picture. It does, you're right. It does look like a drone floating in the fog, like I said, from a still from Blade Runner. Scary stuff. Can you imagine returning to your car to find it underwater like that? Wow, car half underwater and the electric's still working. Isn't that amazing? I believe the saying "it ain't over till the fat lady sings" also originated with Yogi. Very good. Who doesn't like a cloaked deck first thing in the morning? I'll remember that, Mrs. M. As I approach you in that way. OLP, bon dia, fellow Gumpers. Love John Rooney's contribution to the Advent calendar. Yeah, absolutely. And I've put the Christmas Advent calendar. Can we have one from you, OLP, wishing us an Oregonian happy Christmas? That'd be wonderful. But yeah, John's brilliant. Very funny guy. Gene, it wouldn't surprise me at all, but it wasn't on the expansive list I got off the interweb of Yogi Berra quotes there. A bon dia from Marty. We got a foot of new snow today. It's like a postcard now. Pictures, please, Marty. And yes, Carlos, the other Carlos, 3 Carloses here, including myself. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hi, Marty. We don't have any snow now, but we already had snow 4 times this year. Send a pic to Carl so we can see your snow. Oh, I have a look. I haven't got a picture of snow. I did have last week, didn't I, from Martin and Jojo? But let me share this picture with you before I forget. I know it's small on the screen, but could you make your way and press your hooter? And when I say hooter, I'm talking about your nose. That's for your Americans. Although if you do, Americans want to press their hooters against the screen, I'm all for it, quite frankly. But maybe don't send pics because that could get a little bit awkward. So that image from Madeira there, let me just tell you what Paul Williams says about that, who captured that. And I thought to myself, yes, I must share this with the Gumpers on the Good Morning Portugal show. Paul enjoying himself in Madeira, in Coral das Freiras in Madeira. Wonderful. Can I share this on GMP, please, Paul? Yes, you can. You're more than welcome. It really is a beautiful walk from Heron to Cerrado and a great restaurant at the end for lunch called Sabores de Coral. Wonderful filete de espada con banana y molho de maracuja. That sounds good, doesn't it? Fillets of fish with banana and passion fruit sauce there, served under that rainbow. That is so beautiful, that picture. That'll be going in the Gumper Gallery. Thank you for that. And we do have a picture. We'll go from Madeira and rainbows to Marty has sent a picture of his snow, another foot of snow in Alaska. Let's have a click on that, shall we? Look at that. Proper look at, you could definitely see a foot of snow there, can't you, on the carport? Thank you very much for that, Marty. Stay warm, stay safe, and don't do anything crazy just to prove to Gilda that you've got your visa now. Thank you very much for that talk of snow this morning. Emma's here as well. Morning, Emma. How are you doing? And do the Algarve flavors include some Moroccan? What do you mean? Yeah, yes, of course. Did I not say Morocco is in Africa? Anyway, we'll come back to that. Paul Richards also in from the Algarve. He likes an Algarvian flavour. Hold on a minute. We've lurched forward, and I've missed. You're very chatty this morning, and I'm loving it. Thank you very much. Beautiful girls here from Girls 18 XYZ. That's where we got to, I think, wasn't it? Rooney's. Dang auto. We got the gist. Don't worry. And I got myself a Gulp hotspot earlier this week. Very happy with it, as my house does get warm and cozy. What is a Gulp hotspot? And I think we need another picture. Good morning, lovely ones. This is Emma, who your program, your singing from last week, your performance, Emma, is going around the world. Thank you very much for being with us. I hope you can join us again before Christmas, and we'll have a Christmas party with you. Why in Portuguese songs do they always sing about Portugal or Lisboa? I don't think it's the law in Portugal that you have to mention Portugal or Lisboa in every song. Loads of love from Emma. Will you be doing us a Portuguese song? Have you got any Portuguese tunes in your repertoire there, Emma? But Christmassy ones would be fantastic. Good to see you this morning. Thanks, Emma. And let us know where your next gig is. Please put that in the chat. You're always welcome to do that. We're very happy for you to advertise yourself. Please do. My fave is still, it's Deja Vu all over again. Maybe an American can correct if I got it wrong. Yeah, I think that is a Yogi Berra quote. You're absolutely right. Okay, I snapped a photo of the freshener and sent it to Carl, and here it is again for you one more time on the screen. Just look at the carport, everybody. I want to see that. Maybe as you go to your car there, Marty, and you press the little button that goes bloop, bloop, and then that's enough to have that snow sliding off the carport comedically onto the driver who's about to get into their car. OLP hugs back to you, Suze and OLP having a bit of a love in this morning. How lovely. And they're only spamming Mrs. M's site. Mrs. M's site, what's going on here? Okay, thank you very much, T-Duck. I loved the young 21-year-old who replaced Ronaldo. Don't be saying replacing Ronaldo. You can't say that. And scored a hat-trick. But it did feel a little bit like, don't say this too loud to Cristiano, but it did feel like a baton was being passed in World Cup history yesterday with the young Ramos, I think his name was. Could be, what's this? Otherwise unemployed Russian in Siberia. Is that how it works? I don't know. I don't know if that's how it works. Merry Christmas then, Carlos F. from the OLP. Sarah's in as well, the creator of the Gumper map. Hey, Carl, can we have a show about voting from Portugal? I just did it for the third time, and I'm sure there's a better way. Yeah, sure. Who would like to step forward and do that? Maybe that's you, Sarah, who could come on and suggest how that's done. You're talking about Americans voting from Portugal, I imagine there. But yeah, I'm very open to that. Capital punishment abolished, regicide notwithstanding. Interesting, Jean. Yes, because the assassination of the king happened sometime after that. Well spotted, well said. Just a thought, maybe dad jokes can be on one day a week. No, the other contributions seem worthy of contemplating and by the same people. I wonder what that means there, Suze. But I'm not taking the dad jokes away, not yet anyway. No. From my cold dead joke book, to coin a phrase, I think it was Charlton Heston, wasn't it? Congratulations, Portugal! What a game, says Moaz. That mirth has brought World Cup mirth and delight has brought Moaz to the show this morning. Wasn't it fantastic? Paul Richards, greetings from a very wet Algarve. Makes a change now. Where did I put his wellies? Wellies are Wellington boots, Americans, in case you didn't know that. Good, or gum boots, they used to be called, didn't they? GUM. That takes us back to our quiz yesterday. GUM boots and GUM clinics. Good morning, everyone, from 3Ps in the pod. Nice busy show this morning. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Missed you last night, Jeff. How you doing? Bon dia alegria from Jeff. Moaz, says James. And also, congratulations to Morocco, the first Arab country to advance to the quarterfinals in the history of the World Cup, where I think they might get knocked out by Portugal. I'm hoping so. No offense. I thought Morocco is in Africa. I think you're right. New Portugal movie, Hashish Galore. Is that based on that find in the Algarve? They're set in the Algarve. And do Algarve flavors include some of that Moroccan? No, they do not, Lord Gilchrist. When is the when is the low tide? in the Algarve. That's captured some imaginations here, isn't it? Yes, Matty, you're right. It's a short trip across in a boat across to the Algarve to Morocco. There, it's interesting. Are there cruises then from the Algarve to Africa? I wonder. How amazing would that be? We could all go on a big boat cruise together, couldn't we? One day. It's some of you would be out on the deck trying to spot another shipment. I'll refer to that loosely as a shipment. It's interesting to see the populations of the remaining 8 teams. I thought Portugal might be the smallest, but Croatia has less than 4 million. Isn't it interesting how we all look at things differently? There's Marty looking at the relative populations of the countries remaining in the last rounds of the World Cup. And Matty, what's this? Yes, it is. I believe it is. Even the west coast of Africa. So how is it an Arab country? Could not be far away from Saudi Arabia. That's not quite how it works. And I think Moaz might explain for you there. Gumpers are from around the world, predominantly British and US on this side. But our focus is common amongst us. Thank you, Carl, and contributors, as we all grow towards our global knowledge. Yeah, we didn't really know, did we, how this was good? This is an ongoing experiment. And I love it how people bring different things. It is truly a Portugal-loving, community-contributed show. That's the best way I can describe it at the moment, and long may it continue. I think it's about 365 miles across the Straits of Gib to get to Morocco there from the Iberian Peninsula. Pressing hooters against the screen now. Well, you say us men are becoming extinct. It could be our last request. There, Sarah, you were good value last night. Gilda enjoyed your contributions. Portugal, Matty, a healthy move, Portugal. Sorry, Matty. Morocco is in Africa, but it's an Arab country, so we could say it's an Arab African country. So yes, Arab is. What would you say? Arab is an ethnography, an ethnic classification. Africa, a continental classification. So those Venn diagrams do overlap. I do like that nom de plume. Press your hooters against the screen now, and then press your red button. How is it? Matty, we've already done that. Okay. And Marty, I will miss the snow here, but I'm weary of 6 months of snow, ice, and darkness. Okay, we'll go to Nuno Mota in just a moment. We haven't got Michael Heron with us. We are delighted by the Portuguese win last night. Gum boots, just quickly then, gum clinics. Is that where the phrase fill your... Oh, stop it. Please, honestly. What are you like? Let's have a big round of applause then. And go to our new friend in this community, Nuno Mota. Hola, bom dia, alegria.
Good morning.
So lovely of you to join us, Nuno. It was suggested we get together by our mutual friend Kathy, I believe.
Yes.
But it's been a long journey, us getting together on the screen here. And as I was in the laundrette last night watching Portugal beat Switzerland 6-1, I thought, wouldn't it be great? This is the ideal moment for Nuno to join us on the screen and talk about other sports other than football, possibly, because believe it or not, everybody, there are other sports in the world at the moment, aren't there?
I believe so.
We are, of course, dominated by the World Cup and Portugal's love of football, and quite rightly so. And wouldn't it be amazing if we see I think it's still possible to see a Brazil-Portugal final. Wherever Portugal get to now, I think it's been great for the country, and I think it's going to be an amazing match when they play Morocco. But you're the owner of a tennis club and can represent some other sports for people who are even sick of it now of the World Cup. Nuno, tell us about yourself and your tennis club, if you will.
Well, just to close the first sport that we have been talking about, the football, yeah. I think Portugal in these days, beside the talent that they have the will to really become world champions. So they are humble enough to know they have to fight step by step, game by game. But the exhibition yesterday was a great moment to increase confidence on the group, and with Cristiano Ronaldo together with them. He's not a part, he's a part, and he's going to help a lot in the last matches, that's for sure.
Yeah. So
okay, so about Mike, tell me.
He was being rested yesterday, wasn't he? He had a little bit of a kickabout towards the end, but that was a pretty good tactic, I thought. And the new young man to make his impact in the way he did yesterday was fabulous, wasn't it? With Ramos with his 3 goals.
You have to know that our life, it's not a uphill line. It's up and down, like your heart beating.
Yes.
So Ronaldo has to know that every time that he goes slightly down, it's to kick up and come back stronger. So let's wait for better moments from him, because what we are, we really have to respect the value of the brand of Portugal football in these days, because he's the biggest ambassador that we have, and all the credits for him. We are with him, even if he's passing not his best moment, but well, sometimes he helps the team, some other times the team has to help him. It's what's happening in these days.
Well said. It's a team sport for sure, isn't it? Absolutely. Yeah. So good luck
Of course,
in the next stage against Morocco. I think one of the easier teams to be set against in these closing stages, but still we can't take anything for granted at this stage, and it's going to be amazing to see that next match.
I'm sure Spain doesn't have your perspective.
Well said. Well said. Yes. Apologies to all Spanish people who may be tuned in this morning. Okay. So, yes, there's the football. Michael Heron might join us towards the end of the show to give his analysis. He is part of our World Cup squad of reporting. We have a lovely Facebook page here of your tennis academy. This is your establishment. Right here, where you have tennis and I think paddle as well. Is that right, Nuno? Tell us about your wonderful center here.
Yes. Okay. So we have our bases inside the Bom Sucesso Resort in Óbidos, where we have 4 tennis courts, artificial grass, very comfortable for joints, for a comfortable game, and also 2 paddle courts, which is a very recent sport, but it's developing so fast, not only in Portugal. In Europe, it was starting through Spain. Then Portugal was on one of the following countries to develop it. And now it's spreading all over Europe, especially on Scandinavia and North Europe, because it's a sport that doesn't require as much space as a tennis court, because one tennis court is close to 700, 800 square meters. But the paddle court is 200 square meters. So it's very fitable on condominiums, on the public spaces that normally it's difficult to build 3 tennis courts, but you can easily put 2 or 4 paddle courts. So this is the 2 major sports that we are developing in our academy. We have a big foreign community in Portugal joining our activities, which is group tennis and paddle classes, individual tennis and paddle classes, social tournaments of tennis, social tournament of paddle for female, for male, mixed. So we have a big range of opportunities for people who really are looking for opportunity to do some workout, some sport. And it's not like football. We have a net in the middle, so no contact no physical contact, no tackles. And it's really fun, because tennis, it's one of the greatest, the make-off decision of a tennis player, it's huge, much higher than regular sports, because you are constantly making decisions and living with the consequences of. So even for kids, you cannot have as good sports as tennis is, and also as paddle is, for the make-off decision to develop your skills of making decisions, and of course the workouts, because you are normally doing everything outside, living with the air, with the oxygen, not indoors. It's outdoor, but thank God we have this microclimate. in Bom Sucesso Resort, so weather is normally helping us.
Amazing. I mean, it is a lovely part of the world. Unir Obidos, as you say, Bom Sucesso is a beautiful place to be, isn't it? And what a lovely, I'd never thought of it like that, but the life skills that tennis can bring you, it's an amazing game, isn't it? And clearly you're engaging with a local community, with the expat community, and with this new paddle thing. Nuno, it's really taking it would seem the expat community here in Portugal by storm, because we know we have our friend Wiley over.
People when
Go ahead.
When paddle took over Portugal, everybody was thinking it's a new wave.
Yeah,
but it's more than a new wave. The Portuguese Paddle Federation was expecting in 2023 to have already around 600 paddle clubs. We are in 2022. We overcome the 1,000. So
wow,
it's how amazing it's really growing. So in Bom Sucesso, the 2 paddle courts that we have. It's not only the paddle courts, it's the 2 paddle courts, it's the landscape around, and the possibility to have a coach helping you to develop your skills and to learn the basics. And it's an amazing game that you can start to compete from the first time you step on a paddle court. And you just need to have the other 3 players, because we play with doubles.
Yes.
You just need to have the other players around you, on your side and in front of you, more or less the same level, and you have a lot of fun. And I'm suspect to tell this, but you just ask everybody that already tried, and it's amazing. It's very great. Socially.
Yeah.
People have fun. The muscles that hurts more in the end of a paddle match is the cheeks. Because you laugh all the time.
That's how wonderful.
It's like skiing.
Yeah, and I think we thank Kathy for the introduction here, but I think you also know Colin Ross Jones, another one of our viewers here. I think he's a bit partial to a bit of paddle as well. How did you get into it in the first place, Nuno? Are you a tennis player? Is that your thing?
Well, I'm connected to tennis since my young ages. And I was born in Mozambique, but my father is from the Azorian Islands, which I strongly recommend to visit. And I was living in the Azores until 11 years ago, when I moved here to mainland Portugal. So I was living and working in Caldas da Rainha, but then I had the opportunity to start my own project in Bom Sucesso Resort, Nuno Mota Tennis Academy. And when I reached, I found beside the 4 tennis courts that I was looking for, I found also the 2 paddle courts. So it was the way I was approaching the game. I took my instruction courses, and the job that I have, I'm a tennis and paddle coach, but actually, it's not work. It's pleasure all the time, because it's what I love to do. So,
you're lucky man.
And people who join us, they understand exactly what I'm saying, because they really have fun when they join us. Because besides of learning the sports and develop the skills, they always have fun. They meet other people, other levels, other countries. During summer, we organize a summer camp for kids from 5 years old to 14 years old. And it was amazing this summer, because some of the weeks we had around 9-10 different nationalities all together. So in the beginning of the week, the kids, they were shy and not knowing what to expect, and in the end of the week they were speaking different languages and different kids. It's amazing. It's really, join us and you will see it.
It sounds so appealing. I'd love to come and have a go at paddleball. Yeah, I think I'll come with Colin. Come with Colin.
You should come. We set up a paddle activity or a tennis activity, or eventually we can organize a social tournament with everybody never playing paddled before, and they can start to compete right from the first time.
That's fantastic. Which it's easier to do that with paddle than with tennis, obviously.
We call it the paddle baptism.
Paddle baptism. I'm up for that. Question then from OLP: is paddleball similar to pickleball? Is the OLP's question, Nuno?
No, pickleball, it's a plastic ball with holes, very light, and paddleball, it's almost a tennis balls. In tennis, you have 4 different kind of balls. Progressive balls, you have the orange ball for really beginners, young ages, or just starting players. And then you have, which is 75% slower than normal balls. Then you have orange dot ball, which is only 50% slower. Then you have the green dot ball, which is only 25% slower than regular ball. And the paddle ball is somewhere between the regular tennis ball and the green dot ball. So it's a little slower, has to be, because the paddle court is quite small comparing to a tennis court, and you have glasses all around. So if the ball is too hard, the ball will be traveling outside the court very often.
Okay.
So that's the reason.
And with walls, with the glass walls, you don't have to be going to find the balls too far either, do you? It's always going to be, you're always going to be
that's another of the great things of paddle. The balls are really close. In the tennis court, you have 800 square meters for 2 players. Imagine you have to cover 400 square meters.
Yes.
If you have to pick balls on 100 square meters, you can imagine how much time you spend.
Yes.
But on a paddle court, it's a 200 square meters with 4 players. So you just need to cover 50 square meters. It's the balls are always there. Fantastic. And when the ball goes behind you, comes back because bounces on the wall. So never stop. It's unbelievable.
We are sold on paddleball this morning. Tell us about Bon Sucesso as well. I mean, what amazing place to have a resort and condominiums and a lovely community there. You're near Óbidos. You're near the Foz.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, Bon Sucesso, the place itself where you're located. What a fantastic location with the Atlantic, with the lagoon, with Óbidos, with Foz do Aurélio. Tell us a little bit more about Bon Sucesso, if you will, Nuno.
Well, in Bon Sucesso, you have a lot of opportunities. You can, I would say it's a perfect spot for sports activities on the country, on the water, on the sea, on the lagoon. You can do, it's one of the most amazing spots for kite surfing, for windsurfing with the lagoon. Then you have the shore from Sintra until I would say Figueira da Foz. It's uphill or downhill. You have all kind of shores. You have the Nazaré wave, which is the biggest wave ever seen in the world. So here nearby you have Recurtiço Beach with a beautiful restaurant. You have 4 golf courses in the nearby. It's the only spot in Portugal with 4 golf courses in such a short area. It's a person or someone or a group that comes from another country and they want to play golf. They come for one of the resorts and they can play in the 4 different courses during the same week. It's amazing.
It is incredible.
So beside that, you have tennis, you have golf, you have paddle, you have water activities. You can go for hiking, you can go for running, you can go for cycling. It's everything. Wherever you want, you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And what an incredible setting with the lagoon, you know, and historical Óbidos as well, and Caldas just around the corner. Talking of Caldas, Taranya, what's happening here? Were you hosting a tournament of some sort here?
Yes, we organize, and I'm the tournament director of this $60,000 tennis event sponsored by the ITF and Portuguese Tennis Federation and the Caldas da Rainha CTO. So it's the biggest, it's the best female tournament we have in Portugal, and it's here. We organize it every September, we are setting up for next September from the 16, starting on the 16th of September. And we have top 100 WTA players joining this tournament, and they really love it. You know, these kind of tournaments, you can say it's not first division like you have the Grand Slams and the WTA 1000 where you have only the top 100 players, but this division, it's, you can say, second division, but it's one of the best of all the world, because we, beside the prize money, we provide accommodation. So players, they come and they don't have to spend money with the hotel. So we provide that to makes it feel much more affordable and comfortable for the girls. And well, we have been watching amazing matches last year. We had some really good matches, and it's already done for 3 editions. First one 2019, 2020 we didn't because of COVID. 2021, 2022. So next year it's a year already full of experience, and we are always trying to make it better according to the previous years.
Amazing. What a fantastic event, encouraging young female tennis players. And what better place to host it than Rania? These are the queens of tennis to be, aren't they, in Caldas de Rainha?
It's all connected. It's not occasional. It's all thought about.
Yeah, amazing. That's a fantastic picture there. And it's just so lovely how Portugal is so into sport. And there truly is something for everybody. And this is an important message for expats, isn't it? That, you know, a lot of people associate Portugal with football. A lot of people come to Portugal in the Algarve to play golf. But there truly is if people want to stay active in their older age as expats and in retirement, there's truly something for everybody to do. You've got walking football in Foz as well, haven't you?
Yes, I heard about, and they do it in different places in Caldas and also in Óbidos, because in Senhora da Luz, I think they also do it, and which is Óbidos already, and it's really interesting. Allows people with lack of mobility to still with the passion of the game.
Yep.
It's a really amazing, and I would say Óbidos, beside all these sports opportunities, you have the only pickleball community in VAU, and I haven't approached them yet, but I will. And I know that they have been developing the game already for a few years. It's not as recent as you could thought, but they really develop it, and it's a emerging sport in the US, and it will just need a little more time to flourish also in Europe, and especially in Portugal.
Incredible. So more excellent reasons to move to Portugal and to think about Portugal, either for holiday or for migration. The incredible sports scene here. I'm so grateful to Kathy for suggesting we talk to each other, Nuno. And do please come back when you've got tournaments and any news to share. Please let me know, and we'll gladly bring you back on again. It's been so lovely meeting you. I really appreciate you being here today.
My pleasure, and thank you for this opportunity, and I'll keep you in touch.
Fantastic. Okay, well, come and see you, and have a game of paddleball with you. Maybe bring a few gumpers along. So have a great day, and Força Portugal for the remaining tournament for the World Cup. Bye for now, Nuno.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
There he goes. Fantastic stuff. Superb. Okay, there goes Nuno from the Nuno Mota Tennis Academy. How good is that? I thought for a moment I was talking to Russell Crowe there. He could also open fates as a Russell Crowe lookalike, couldn't he? I was thinking, who's this fella look like? So handsome Nuno Mota there of the Nuno Mota Tennis Academy. And there's their fantastic Caldas de Rainha tennis tournament for young female players by the sound of it. I'm so grateful as well this morning to have on the screen with us now Michael Heron, who's had a busy morning this morning. Mate.
Good morning, everyone. Hi, mate. I'm so sorry about today. How's it going?
Well, as you could see there, you caught the tail end of a fantastic conversation with Nuno Mota, who runs a tennis academy in Óbidos, where they have paddleball. which seems to be taking the nation and the world by storm. I don't know if you're familiar with this sport.
Yeah, it's very popular in Spain as well. It's very popular in Spain. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So you've managed to calm down, having a bit of a breather. How's everything at home?
Yeah, everything's good, mate. No, my son was ill this morning. He's had a really nasty cough the last couple of days, as have I, and so I decided to keep him. at home. So it just meant that my usual morning routine was completely disrupted. But I'm very happy to be here with you now, and
yes.
yeah, now I can relax. I've got my cup of coffee, so I'm all good. How are you doing, buddy? How are you? How's everything?
Doing great. It's been a lovely
You must
morning.
be ecstatic that your sweepstake is smashing it.
Well, yes. Well, tell me, did Portugal win last night? Did they play yesterday? What happened? Here we go. We're into the quarterfinals. I'm loving these pictures that are coming out.
Yeah.
Nuno was saying that what a great, what a brilliant job the Portuguese football team do as ambassadors for Portugal around the world, Ronaldo included. And the way they're playing, the way they really excelled and distinguished themselves last night adds to that. And very good for team morale, don't you think, going further into the competition as well? They must be feeling very good. They shouldn't rest on their laurels or take anything for granted. But that would have been really good for team spirit, won't it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like no disrespect to Switzerland, but they're not the best side. But yeah, I mean, they smashed it. They played with freedom.
Yes.
I felt a bit sorry for Ronaldo, but obviously you can see the players just seem to be. The younger players seem to be more free when he wasn't playing with them, and you could see the difference on the pitch. And I think he will struggle to get back into the team now. I think Morocco will be a difficult one. I was worried for Spain before that game yesterday because I thought Morocco would cause them problems. I didn't think they'd lose to Morocco, but I think that will be a tough game for Portugal because Morocco are very physical, very good defensively, but I think Portugal will win that game for sure.
Yes, but they too, with their win, I mean, that penalty shootout was miserable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that was worse than England, wasn't it?
It was, and you know, in Spain, it's an interesting one in Spain because you could argue that the Spanish aren't all the most fanatical about their national team, unlike in Portugal, where it's like everyone gets behind the Portuguese team, whereas in Spain, there's a bit of a resistance sometimes because of the regional issues in Spain, and a lot of fans want to be club first. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's a bit of a strange one. Yeah, it's a bit of a strange one.
Okay. Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. So when is the Portugal Morocco match and at what time?
It's a good question. I should have checked, shouldn't I? I don't actually know. I think it must be on Sunday, possibly. Is it on Sunday?
Well, somebody will tell us.
Let's have a look. England are playing France on Saturday at 7. So I presume Portugal will be Sunday, I think.
Okay. So a great weekend of football. A couple of days rest from the tournament as well. That's a little bit difficult for football fans, isn't it?
It is. I literally don't know what to do with myself. Yeah. So Saturday at 3. Wow. So Saturday at 3 is Morocco Portugal, and then at 7 is England France. So that is
what a great day of football.
What a great day. Yeah. Don't do anything on that day. Stay at home or go to the pub and just sit in the pub all day.
Well, how about that? We've got a holiday tomorrow in Portugal, haven't we? It's the Immaculate Conception holiday tomorrow, which probably means that some people will have booked a Friday off as well.
Yeah,
and then
Ponte, right? They call it the Ponte when they bridge the Friday from the Thursday, so they get the 4-day weekend.
What's it called?
They call it a Ponte. Like if you have a Thursday as a public holiday, people take the Friday off, so you're effectively bridging from the public holiday over the weekend till Monday. So you have 4 days off.
So if you've got anything bureaucratic to do in Portugal, it's usually best to do it on a Tuesday or a Wednesday, right?
And then even then you've got to cross your fingers and hope for the best.
But some nice life hacks on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday with Heronius Maximus here this morning. I'm so glad you were able to join us. We're having a little bit of a look at the news as well. Some comical news coming in. We might have a look at those pages. But more broadly, then we've not spoken for a little while about the World Cup. More broadly, upsets, interesting things that you've noticed about the World Cup tournament generally.
I would say there's been a lot of upsets, but in my mind, it's interesting, because I think the traditional European teams, with the exception of England, the Netherlands and Portugal. I thought they were all very weak. Even Spain in their group, I know they started very well, but I didn't think they were that great. And I wasn't surprised when they lost yesterday. Germany as well, I think they're in a transition. So it's an interesting, I think it's probably one of the most competitive World Cups we've had in a long time, despite Brazil looking with Portugal and France possibly the strongest. But then England just all of a sudden played so well against Senegal, and you feel like England are looking very good. You feel like that. I thought the England-France game was going to be France firmly favourite. Now I think that's 50-50. I still think the French will win, but I think England have got a very good chance. So I think it's a very open World Cup. I think what's benefited the players, especially the English players and the players that play in the Premier League, is the fact that this World Cup has happened so early in the season. So the players look really fit.
Yes.
So I think the standard of football has been very high. And it's interesting because even though there are a few countries that lost games in their third group game, that was because in most cases they'd already won the first two. So they'd already qualified, so they're able to rest players. So a lot of those results were sort of outliers. They weren't real. Obviously, the biggest shock is, you could say, is Spain losing yesterday. But I wasn't that shocked because I didn't think Spain were that good. They're not a physical team. So I think, in general, we've got an open World Cup, and for the most part, we're going to have big countries in the semis probably. So I would imagine we'll have in the semis either England or France versus Portugal, and then probably Argentina versus Brazil if the Netherlands don't cause an upset against Brazil. Yeah. So I'm very happy, and I'm still not into it as other World Cups, just because the fact that it's in Qatar, the fact that there are not a lot of fans, the fact that there's a bit of a disengagement. But in general, I think now we should all be excited about what's going to happen because it's now getting hot.
That has got better though, hasn't it? I do understand. I've found. I mean, you know me. I'm not the biggest football fan ever, anyway. But and it was kind of hard to get into the whole tournament. And goodness only knows what it's like for people who don't like football anyway. But the excitement didn't feel like it was there. I watched a few matches. It was quite disappointing, and there wasn't that engagement. But I think that's beginning to click in now, isn't it? Certainly in Portugal.
Yeah, it's always a bit weird with the group stage, because I think when it's the group stage, you're just really interested in watching your country. Then as soon as it gets to the knockout games, then you start watching all of it. I mean, obviously I'm a freak because I watch every game, but for the average fan, I think you start getting into it, especially now quarterfinals. That's really when the tournament starts. Like England haven't been tested properly until this game against France. Probably Portugal won't have been tested properly until they play Morocco, just because any team you play now have got this far for a reason, right? Yes. So I think it's going to be competitive. And now everything's on the line, because now you're 2 wins away from the World Cup final, which is the biggest game in football for any footballer growing up, dreaming. That is the one game that they dream about. So psychologically, you're 2 games away from that. And that's incredible. Yeah. So this is where it gets really interesting.
And there we go. If I take that banner off, this just to summarize, then this is what's ahead of us.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. It's as though those last 8 teams all deserve to be there. It's not like any of them are skinched through or they've earned their places, haven't they? Which makes for a good vibe, I think.
Yeah. And you've got a couple, and arguably, except Morocco, there aren't really any surprises there, because Croatia have been a very good team in recent years. So the interesting thing is there aren't that many, with the exception of maybe Morocco. If Spain had been in that quarterfinal, but then again, I think Morocco deserved to win yesterday. So you're right, mate. I think when you get to the quarterfinals, every team that is there on merit, and it's a cup competition. So you're going to have teams get knocked out that you don't expect because they haven't performed on the day.
Yes,
I think with Spain, the interesting thing with Spain is Luis Enrique, the manager, has come under a lot of criticism because he's left a lot of players out of the team that arguably should have been in there.
What a horrible job. What a
horrible
horrible
job
job
win,
to have.
right? You can't win.
Well, they must know that when they go into it. So what a fantastic few days you'll be having. A day off tomorrow, Argentina on Friday, and England and Portugal on Saturday.
It could be better. It could be better. So basically, tomorrow I'm gonna take my kids out. We're gonna go and get just a load of Christmas decorations. We're gonna do the tree tomorrow because we haven't done that yet. So we do that tomorrow. And then basically, then on Friday and Saturday, I'm going to be just watching football. And fingers crossed, Argentina and England both get through. I hope so.
Woohoo! Okay, João F is here. Good morning, everybody. Bom dia todos. And bom dia alegria. I had such a lovely experience at the barbers yesterday. Anything for the weekend, sir? The guy before me was somewhat elderly and was laughing and joking. He had a great haircut, which was given as a Christmas gift. How lovely is that? Stories of human warmth from Portugal. You hear them every day on the Good Morning Portugal show. That's lovely. And Moaz, Matty wants to know why Morocco is called an Arab country, and we're still figuring that out in the chat. I thought we'd got to the bottom of that, but Moaz, thank you. The coach of the Moroccan team last night congratulated the Arab countries. It's been I mean,
it's because they speak Arabic, right? I think that's the only reason, right? So it's
I was making the point that there's the Venn diagram is it's ethnically Arab and continentally African.
But the three countries, they call it the Maghreb, don't they? The three. So Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. They're called like the Maghreb countries. Yeah. They're French-speaking African countries, but with Arabic as the other main language.
Well, there's the thing as well, because with the controversy of the World Cup, the idea being that as a cultural event as well as a footballing event, you learn something about the host country, and I think we have learned a thing or two with it being based in Qatar that people weren't expecting. We wouldn't be having this conversation, would we? So that's been an upside for sure. Some leave, some just arrive. The show is starting to look like a train station, like Piccadilly Circus or Waterloo. The right side of the Iberian Peninsula won yesterday. Will be wearing.
I think we haven't touched on that, but I can imagine it was double bubble for Portugal yesterday. Put it that
way. Okay, well, that's the difference between. The difference is that Europe is a continent, whereas Arab is not, as far as I know. No, you're right. And no, you said because they speak Arabic. So my comparison stands. Matty's taking a position on this. This is a very controversial topic among the Arabs themselves. Okay. As you might expect, when it comes to identity, that's never an easygoing conversation, is it?
Yeah.
Identity is judgment, of course. We go at least once a week for the market and tapas, and they know us well, and who can argue? I was lucky enough to watch the match before Portugal left for Qatar. They are very, very good. We're talking about Morocco there, possibly. Better without Ronald McDowell. You can't be making a joke of that kind, can you? That's really touchy, sensitive ground there. Did you feel? I think he's calling Cristiano Ronald McDowell.
Yeah.
Stop it, Pete. Did you get a sense of World Cup history and the baton being handed from the old guard to the new with Portugal yesterday?
Yeah, and I think it's a bit of like the old guard resisting handing it to the new as well, a little bit. I got the sense and I understand it. The guy, it's a little bit like, I don't know if you watch a lot of golf. I don't watch a lot of golf, but when you see at the Open this year, you had Tiger Woods, who did a really bad score in over the 4 rounds at the Open, and he said afterwards, I now know how Jack Nicklaus felt when I won the Open 20 years ago, and he did a terrible.
Wow!
Yeah, so it's because obviously, as you get older, you lose your sharpness. It's just inevitable. You can't, however good Ronaldo has been in his career, he's 37, so he can't expect himself to be at that level anymore. And I think obviously he hasn't helped himself, even though I disagree with a lot of the criticism he got about doing that interview. I don't think it was that bad, but also I think what's clear is that Portugal are such a good side, and they are, unfortunately for him, better when he's not playing. Probably because the younger players feel they have freedom. They don't have to look for him every time they've got the ball, and also because modern football now requires all your forwards to be pressing the ball and moving a lot, and he can't do that anymore because he's 37. You can't afford to have one player who's a passenger, however good he is, as Ronaldo is. So when you saw the way Portugal started that game yesterday, you could see the energy, and it just looked like a different team. It looked like a different team.
So interesting, Michael, because we don't really want to say it, do we? We don't want to really acknowledge it.
No, the
But,
guy. Look, Ronaldo's a legend. Ronaldo's done more for Portuguese football than anybody else. Probably him and
yes,
Mourinho, the two that have done more for Portuguese
yes,
football
yeah,
since Eusebio, right? So he will always be a legend. But I think now he should probably retire from the Portuguese national team and join Sporting and enjoy his life, put his feet up, and
Is that going to happen? But do you think that's going to happen?
I think he's got the dream that he wants to play with his son.
Yes. Okay.
So, but I don't know if he will be able to make that choice.
Yeah.
I think for Sporting, it would be a possibility. I think if his son manages to get into the first team there in a few years, then maybe Ronaldo could carry on playing until he's 41, 42. I think the Portuguese league now would suit him very well because it's not competitive compared to other leagues. And I think he could do very well. But the other issue he's got is just his position. He's a dinosaur now. His position on a football pitch doesn't really exist anymore. Most teams play with 3 forwards.
Yeah.
And all 3 forwards have to be very, very fit and run. Like you don't see many forwards in teams now over the age of even 32, 33, with very few exceptions.
Wow.
And the teams that have players like that, they look very lethargic. So it's
Very
just
interesting.
Yeah.
My stepfather used to tell me. He used to tell me many stories, and he had his own niche of stepdad jokes. But he used to say there was a little boy crying on the curbstone, and an old man walked up to him and said, "What's the matter, little boy?" And he said he was crying because he couldn't do what the big boys could do. And the old man sat down beside him and started crying as well. And that might be the kind of Ronaldo position, mightn't it? And it really, it's on him now, isn't it, to deal with that gracefully or not? And it remains to be seen.
That's the problem. He hasn't done it gracefully until now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
all right. We shall see. Okay. Moaz and Matty still going at it. Come on, fellas. I would love to understand what's going here. A painful topic for some of us, and I wish as a non-Arab you didn't even bring it up. I think Matty's just asking innocent questions here, and I think let's see if we can get some understanding of this. Yes, and have a bit of a timeout, maybe.
I mean, you know what, mate? It's an interesting one because I think sometimes we can be very casual with labeling things.
Yes, definitely.
But it's also like the language thing is fascinating because, for example, let's take French as an example, right? Not that it's the same thing, because I appreciate with Arabic there's a connotation with religion as well, because typically Arab countries are Muslim in their religion, right? So French-speaking countries are different. But for example, if you compare a French speaker in France or Paris, maybe that'd be the extreme, with say a French speaker in Francophone Africa or somewhere like Guadeloupe. Very different. But then if you speak to a Quebecois in Canada, they feel way more connected to France and being French than any other French speaker. So I guess at the end of the day, that's where it can get a bit sensitive, no? And it's like,
agreed.
well,
and we can take our cues from the words people use for themselves, right? I mean, that's polite and respectful, isn't it? So, what words do you use yourself? You're talking about yourself. What words do you use? And we can have a conversation about it, can't we? And Moaz is saying that the Moroccan coach said Morocco was an Arab country. So there you go. That's a useful cue there. And talking of Canada, by the way, from yesterday's show, Canadians say realtors or realtors too. If Americans say realtors, okay, the English seem to add an extra syllable to the word. No, we don't. You drop a syllable.
You drop it too. Yeah.
Aluminum.
It's aluminium.
Yes, which sounds like an Arabic word. Aluminium, doesn't it? Like algarve, aluminium, but I don't think its origins are necessarily Arabic. How does it become aluminium? Because the Queen said so. That's good enough for us, isn't it, Michael?
Check the periodic table, you'll see how it's spelled correctly.
There you go. Settled once and for all. I always used to go, thanks, Suze. I always used to go to Queen's. My mum lives next door to Queen's Club, to Queen's in Wimbledon, who was the top seed at the last tournament in Caldash. When is the tournament? And it would be nice to catch some future stars. Sorry, I didn't get time to answer that with Nuno there, Pete. But I'm sure if you drop him a line, the Nuno Motta Tennis Academy, he will let you know. Oh, it's 10 o'clock. Michael, are you all right for a few more minutes?
Yeah, I'm fine, mate. No problem at all.
How did aluminum become aluminium? Like I said, the Queen said so, and we just went with it. Suze, I say both words like you do. However, I don't put a U in words like colour, flavour. Oh,
there
dear.
You go. Yeah, no, it offends me. It offends me massively. It's like, program without a double M and the E, using, this is something that I struggle with a lot, actually, because I notice, like with my clients, when they write PR content in English, a lot of the time they either use American English or they mix it. And I always say, look, I don't mind you using American English, especially if it's for an American audience, but decide either to use one or the other.
Yes, well said. Don't hide in the long grass.
Exactly.
The base element is alumina. Look at this. Lord Gilchrist knows a thing or two about his metals, or showing his metal this morning. So the American use of aluminum is not incorrect, which is a British way of saying it's right. But not without bestowing too much of an honor. We just call it aluminium, kind of Latin. It's like color and color. Okay, but we would prefer it if you did put the U in, as it is correctly done, and say tomato from now on, please. It's possible many team members grew weary of Ronaldo, says Marty, and the energy, much of it negative, that surrounds him. By reducing his role, it's possible the team feels liberated to a degree. I think you'd agree with that, right? Like you could see it on the pitch.
Yeah, 100%, Marty. I think that's it. I think especially for the younger players, because you saw like Joao Felix, he had one of his best games in a Portuguese shirt yesterday. And I think he felt without Ronaldo in the team, just less of like a pressure in a way. They could just express themselves more. And that's why it's important to, especially in sport, to give young players a chance, because they don't let you down.
Yeah.
You need a mixture. Yeah. You need a mixture, but invariably young player. It's like England. We've got Jude Bellingham. He's 19. He's 19.
Can you imagine?
He's playing so well, So
it's
just you've got to give the young players a chance.
All right. Remember, Suze, it's the King's English now. Anything pronounced in the States is just less right.
Well, we're getting to get in trouble.
No, I'm with you, Pete. Well said. Less right though. That's so British, isn't it? Instead of saying wrong, you kind of make people think about their behaviour.
Yeah.
Less right or not incorrect.
It's like when the Queen responded to that Oprah interview with Harry and Meghan, and she said, "Recollections may vary." It's brilliant. It's
so
brilliant
British. So British.
Yeah.
The ium ending is common to many metals. Thanks, Gene, for this. It just got dropped from aluminum, and it hurts me to even say it like that. That's right, because I don't have a king. Oh, it's it's beginning to smart a little bit here, isn't it, this morning?
Well, it's getting a bit tasty.
It's getting a bit tasty. Adding to the aluminium discussion, it might be might be the same why Americans say Porsche instead of Porsche. Laziness now. Matty is
wow.
Oh my goodness, this is Anyway, it's been a lovely morning. Michael and I have got other things to do now, and we'll just leave that there. Now, the greetings to you wonderful people who I wish all the best. OLP, to James, to Marty, to Sarah. Oh, look at this lovely name check of everybody. Jean, Suze, Nom de Bloom, Moaz, Portuguese,
nice.
Matty, Paul, 3 P's in a pod. He's working the room. Jeff, Stephen, Baddy. Oh, morning, Stephen. Thank you for your joke last night saying I look like the Portuguese flag with my red face and green shirt. You're not getting a Christmas card from me now for saying that. Hope I did not miss anyone. And if you did, I'm sure you wish them the best this morning as well. Wow. Some of you are just in an ornery. Okay. See, I thought that was Americans saying angry differently. So ornery is a word, is it? Ornery. That's an education for us.
I'll be honest with you, that is the first time I've ever seen that word in my life.
Ornery, yes.
Bad-tempered or difficult to deal with, apparently, according to the Oxford Dictionary. So
funny. I used to listen to a woman called Esther Hicks, and she would use the word ornery, and I thought she was pronouncing angry in a strange sort of way, in the way we're describing here. That's incredible. Mrs. M's here now as well, with a coffee. Oh, bless you. Sorry, I'm broadcasting on your channel. That was a little bit of a mistake. It won't have made any difference. Good morning to everybody on LinkedIn. We have the chance now to broadcast on 8 or so platforms.
Oh, nice trim, by the way. Nice trim.
Nice trim. What?
Very
Oh, I
nice.
see what you mean. Yeah. Very good. You can't say that, Michael, and don't look that up yet until after the show. Even if you have said hello to everyone else, I think Pete's upset with Joao F as well. Now, it is a bit of an eggy morning this morning, isn't it? Interesting. Okay, and now my mouse is eggy as well. It's the full moon tomorrow, and it's a really big one.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah. Help, I'm triggered was Mrs. M's show this morning, and you got triggered immediately because you had a massive echo going on, didn't you? Yeah. And then I got triggered when I woke up. Because anyway.
When I carefully came to make sure you were awake.
All right. Michael's enjoying this too much.
This is why you two need to do this more often. I swear to God, this is the most entertaining thing I've seen in a long time. I'm telling you.
Tell my midwife.
It's so funny. So funny.
It's the look on my face, isn't it? I do that.
Everything. It's just because it's so authentic. That's the thing. It's brilliant.
I do my Tucker Carlson face.
Yeah.
When she's talking to me.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh no, Boaz, come back. I'm done. Oh, I am done, says Matty. You are right. I got my piece. Oh, that's really lovely. They figured it out, those two.
Yeah, they figured it out. Yeah.
Brotherhood.
That's it.
Fantastic.
Friend.
That's really good. Deep breath, let it out and let it go. Fantastic. Well done, everybody. It is odd to see half-empty stadiums when Brazil are playing in the World Cup, says Pete. Why is that then, Michael?
Well, I think just because the expense of traveling all the way from Brazil to Qatar, I would imagine that there aren't many fans there. And,
or their corporate tickets and nobody's turned up.
Well, that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I should say we are joking, aren't we, Mike? In case our British sense of humour wasn't even noticed when we were having a little bit of a dig about, unless you weren't joking, Michael.
About what? About using the correct English as opposed to American English. I was being deadly serious, mate. I don't joke about language. No, I'm just kidding.
And there are so many weird words in English. How very dare you? I'm triggered again now. What's so difficult about Worcestershire? That is the kind of awesome that's called English to go to language in global management. What's this? That's the kind of awesome that so many call English. A go to language. Oh, in global management. Yeah. English is awesome, isn't it? Let's face it. We got to hold on to that in the crumbling ruins of the British Empire. Give us at least, an acknowledgement of our fabulous language. England 2, France 1 is the prediction there, but it's not coming home.
Right. I hope you're right, mate. Well, okay. I'm not as confident as that.
Okay, it's not coming home. England versus France. Difficult as France have the best goalkeeper and England the best striker. Let's see how well matched they are. We knew this would come up. Michael, do Norwich have any players left?
No, of course not. Of course not.
Of course not. I'm a bit late today, but bon dia todos to you, Antonio. That we Brits, Canadians, Americans are beyond our meeting here and beyond our meeting. It is lovely, isn't it? We are like a joke of, a Canadian, a couple of Englishmen, or even more Englishmen, an Alaskan, and you'll walk into a bar together every morning. It's fantastic. Portugal smashed the African champions Nigeria just before they left. Me and Portugal and Antonio F were there for that match. My people, says Sue's fantastic. I agree. Nubianet's here as well. I agree, but flip the countries. Sorry, what does that mean? Matt, no, this is Lord Gilchrist talking to Matty. English has nothing on German words for length. No,
that's true. So and I do actually love the German language for so many words that you can't translate into other languages in terms of their meaning, the depth of their meaning. Like
that one. Geschwindigkeitsbeschränken, I think, means instruction manual. That's a hell of a word, isn't it? But this one, the Versicherung Gesellschaften. What is that? A crankshaft? In I think it probably, if that's Lord Gilchrist, it could be a crankshaft. Portugal will smash Morocco, says Pete. England with Bellingham will beat France. We are bound to have an England versus Portugal in the semi. Oof. That fixture gives
that is my worst nightmare.
Yeah. Okay.
Not because I would ever. Here we go. Good timing. So clearly, I'm going to support England. There's no way. If I'm half Argentine, and I would support England versus Argentina. England versus Portugal, I'm supporting England, but I'm going into hiding during that game because if England win, my life is extremely uncomfortable, and if England lose, my life is extremely uncomfortable as well here. So it's just a horrible game for me.
It is, isn't it? And in every Portuguese neighbourhood, you can hear people screaming and shouting when Portugal score, can't you? That's how it is here. If
Yeah.
you're one of the few voices screaming and shouting when England score, that's going to
Mate, thank God. I was going to put an England flag on my balcony because there's a couple of Brazilian neighbours and they put their flag out. So I thought, fair play. The condominium can't be like discriminating against me. But I'm so glad I haven't put it on there now, because can you imagine if England play Portugal in the semis? Like, yeah, it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one. I think I'll just have to stay in for that one.
Okay, I don't know what I'm losing track of the comments here because there's egginess, there's everything this morning. All of human life is here. It's fantastic. Okay, so you're very rainy in the Algarve. Still, Michael, did you see this picture in the papers of that car underwater? This is Portugal, mate. Look at that.
Oh, wow. Where is that, in the Algarve?
Yeah, the Algarve's flooded at the moment. That's outrageous, isn't it? Quite incredible. So yeah, a lot more rain to come by the sound of it. I will see you nonetheless at the meetup here in San Martino de Porto if you're coming along. And Ronaldo, hold on it. They're still coming in thick and fast. And who doesn't like it thick and fast? First thing in the morning. That is not a German word, is it? Super fragilistic, expeditious. I don't think that's quite British in its own way, isn't it? With Julia Andrews. What's this? Everyone's just showing off with their favourite.
Yeah. Everyone needs to chill out.
Yeah, you calm down. Oh, look, tomato. What tomato there? That sounds like Robert De Niro saying tomato. A Ronaldo joke then. What's the difference between Ronaldo and time? Time passes. That's a good one, isn't it?
Wow, that is a good one.
Yeah. Ready to crack open my Benfica wine. Any time of the day or night, we're ready to crack open the Benfica. There's a massive stack of comments. We are 11 minutes past 10. This is outrageous. Careful, Mr. Heron. Sporting fans are here. Did you say anything about Sporting fan? I don't think you did you?
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
Is it settled where Ronaldo's going? Is there any news on his domestic destination?
He's been offered. Apparently, he's been offered a load of money from a Saudi team, but I think it'll be Sporting. I heard a rumor that his children have been enrolled in St. Julian's School. So I would imagine Sporting, because he's building a massive house in Guincho, in Cascais. So I think it'll be Sporting in January, almost definitely, unless he fancies another payday in Saudi Arabia for a couple of years. But I think it'll be Sporting. But if
Chelsea,
he doesn't feel loved in Portugal, if he doesn't play in the team anymore, he might think, screw it, I'm going to go to Saudi Arabia for a couple of years. So we'll see.
Yeah. I think he would be though, won't he? Why is Cristiano Ronaldo's room always clean? Because he's not Messi. Oh my goodness! You're not a fan of the Dajjal, I remember now, and I've got three finished today. Antonio, people confuse Arab language with Muslim religion. They are different things. Iran is a Muslim country, but they are not Arabs. Same with Indonesia and Afghanistan. So adding more to our conversation on that front this morning. Thank you, Nubian. I come from an older generation of the Egyptian president Nasser. He started the Nasserism pan-Arabism movement against the colonial powers. He unified us. I know the young generation. I think there's more to come from that. Yeah, the young people of today don't know this history, and now we are pharaohs, Phoenicians, Amazegish. I like the inclusive movement of the Brotherhood of Nasserism. Thank you very much for that, Moaz. Thank you for all your contributions, and it's lovely that we can have a laugh and have an education every morning here. Tamara, a red oblate spheroid that can be eaten raw or used in cooking. The tomato there in the British for you. Maybe it's just me, but I think following any sport is primal. No question with that. Either you are the hero in the field or the one worshipping. What has changed? But that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it? It's a human urge. Do you have a view on the psychology of sport there, Michael? And
I disagree to an extent. I think it especially with club football, well, and a country, it's a community, isn't it? So it brings people together. So I think this idea that it's like you're supporting your gods. I don't know. I disagree with that to an extent. I think it's more about community and bringing people together than necessarily worshipping.
And how much self-consciousness you can have about it. I mean, you can see yourself doing something quite basic and primal, but
I think this is what Ronaldo is now realizing, that he's not bigger than the Portuguese national team.
Yeah,
he's disposable. However great he's been, he's disposable. So yeah.
It's definitely a full moon, Michael. Look at this. Got Joao F going now. I'm looking at this rivalry between American English speakers and British English speakers. And my feelings about it are the same as Brazilian Portuguese and Portuguese from Portugal. Sorry to say this, but English and Portuguese were invented in Europe, not...
Wow. Mate, I think it's time to
go. That said, however, we can't go without adding to
it.
There is undoubtedly something about the English that I can only explain the following way. When there is fog in the channel, the English might say that Europe is isolated.
Wow.
That will continue as well, won't it? You know, some English people don't feel that they are European. Sorry for the typing mistake. Chanel. Channel and Chanel, we got that. Although Chanel is French, of course. Another rivalry there, which will be played out on... you will hear the phrase Agincourt this coming weekend. Bloody hell, are we still talking? Might as well go to
bed. You're in the wrong channel, love. Go to bed. We talk about football here.
I'm glad Michael said he will support England. Now I'm not afraid to say that I'll root for you. Shouldn't be afraid, Moaz, with that. Absolutely not. I'm realistic. Morocco doesn't have a chance.
No, I disagree. I think you got a chance. Honestly, I think you've got a chance. I think if you can stop Portugal scoring, I think you've got a good chance. Honestly.
All right. Look at this, Joao F. This is just my way of teasing people and stirring the pot. Do you know what? As well as wind power, we could have pot stirring as a source of renewable energy. There's been enough pot stirring this morning to power a country.
We'd have powered the entire of Portugal for a day, I think, with all the
yes, indeed. Final comments then. Hola, Carla, Michael. Here we are again on the last Ask Anything About Portugal with Michael Heron. Oh, of the year, of course. Thank you for your kindness, time, and dedication. All you bless you. Bless you, Portugal. Keep the vision alive and ready for next year. Learn, discover, and explore Portugal. Thank you, Raquel, for that.
Thank you, Raquel. That was very sweet. Thank you.
And look, trying to change it to go Seahawks. Not a chance over here, I'm afraid. That's not going to be covered on Portuguese telly this weekend, is it? And what's this Pete saying? Can't wait to hear about the gaff with that echo. You must have felt you were at the stadium. Not sure what's going on there. Carlos M. Nubina, if you root for your favourite, you're not surprised if they win. However, you root for the underdog and they win. Yes, that's a lovely feeling. And that may well be a feeling people have still in this World Cup if they've drawn somebody in the sweepstake and they found themselves a new team to support. Right, finally then, 3 dad jokes for you. I just like seeing them. You know how when you like those exchanges between me and Mrs. M? I love to see the look on your face with these dad jokes.
I know you do.
You're not a fan of the genre, but let's do this. I have a medieval lamp. It works great as a nightlight. Look at Michael's face. The police arrested my turkey. They suspected foul play. Look at you, Michael. I used to be terrified. Oh, come on. I used to be terrified of gardening, but then I grew a pair.
Okay, that's good. That one's good.
Yeah, that is good. That is good.
That is decent. That is decent. All right, one for three.
Michael, Raquel's absolutely right. This is our last.
It is, mate. It is.
Have a very happy Christmas. Sounds lovely. You're going to be buying Christmas decorations and a tree with the kids and decorating this weekend. Yes, that is what it's all about, my friend, isn't it? So have a good one. Love to you and yours.
Mate. I appreciate that. Same to you and your family as well. Have a fantastic Christmas, and the same to everyone else. If I don't see you all before, have an amazing Christmas, and see you in 2023. My God, it sounds like something out of science fiction, doesn't it?
It really does. It really does. And it's not as, in 2023, we thought there would be sort of, flying vehicles and, it'd be like Blade Runner, but that's actually what it's like in 2022 in the alcohol. That's the reality. All right. All the best, Michael. Have a good one. Round of applause, my friend. Have a great day. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow with Katia Lima with the Indie Booze Guide. Impress your friends, neighbours and Portuguese pals with your knowledge of Portuguese booze. Have a great day and bye for now.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show. with GMP.